Hi, I'm Nate, and this is Kevin. We're both living our expat lifestyle. Kevin's visiting from Dumaguete up here to Iloilo, and today we're going to talk about what it means to be a deplorable traveler.
Adrenaline wasted, so mad I can taste it. I know there's no turning back.
Hi, Kevin. Thanks for joining me today.
I appreciate you having me.
Pleasure's been all mine. Kevin here, he has his own YouTube channel, and you should check it out. It's called Too Much Time on My Hands.
Too much time on my hands. 65. You have to put the 65.
Or you could put in Too Much Time on My Hands in the search bar and then the Philippines, or you could click on the link below. So, Kevin, you've been living in Dumaguete for how long?
I first arrived into the Philippines December 19th of 2022 on the island of Luzon in Manila, and went and picked up my girlfriend and had to stay there through Christmas. And I arrived in Dumaguete on December 27th of 2022, and I've been there ever since.
Now, I first met you. I was in Dumaguete, and I first met you. I was going to Ground Zero, the little coffee shop there, having my breakfast. I think maybe I would have been there not too long, maybe a week or two. And I'd seen you there. So I recognized you from your YouTube channel.
Yeah, that was kind of strange because I don't drink coffee, so I'm not normally in there. I was just having a bad day to be in there, and that was still relatively new in my channel to where I wasn't used to being recognized. So,
Well, I could tell we became friends and we've been hanging out, and I could tell everyone out there that you're probably one of the more social guys I've ran into. You seem to have a lot of contacts, you talk with a lot of people, you deal with a lot of expats in particular. So I figured you'd be a perfect guy for the question I'm about to ask you.
okay.
So one of the things I've always had a theory of is that the way you behave in other countries, you're basically an ambassador for your own country. And the way you act is basically representative of your people, your country, or even people that even look like you. So my question to you is, do you struggle with anything that might be considered to make you a deplorable traveler? Or have you seen any kind of behaviors that you would say is your number one behavior that would make somebody a deplorable traveler, that would make them a bad ambassador for their country?
Yes, and I was guilty of it when I first got to the Philippines. But I finally realized I've got to mellow out. But the biggest thing you have to do is have patience. The Philippines, it doesn't operate like the U.S. I mean, when you walk into a restaurant, you don't have someone coming up giving you a menu. You get your drinks. By the time they bring your drinks back, they're taking your order, and then you get your food and everything. They'll bring you your menu, and that's the best that's going to happen. I mean, you're going to be lucky if they come back within 30 minutes to take your to take your order, sorry. If there's 4 of you at the table, one of you might get what you ordered, and they don't have a bunch of burners and everything. Like, it's not like a short order cook at Denny's or IHOP to where everyone gets their meal in 5 minutes. You get one meal at a time, and they don't start with the longest meal. They start with the shortest meal. So one person's going to get their meal in 5 minutes, and that last person is going to get their meal in 45 minutes to an hour. And like I said, only one of you is going to get what you ordered. But you can make a game of it. I mean, you actually, you can say whoever gets their meal right pays, or the last person who gets their meal pays. We've done variations of that, but when I first got here, you go in and you order something, and you're just standing there waiting for it at the counter.
Yeah.
Like if you're at a coffee shop, you order a coffee and you're just waiting there, and after 10 minutes, someone, the same girl who's back there who's not doing anything except looking at her phone will go, "I'm sorry, sir, are you in a hurry?" So, once you can accept that things are happening at a slower pace, Filipino time is what it's called. Once you can accept that, your life is going to be so much better. And I was a little antsy when I first got here, and been here long enough now, 10 months, to where I just hate to see it. We'll be in a restaurant, especially someone new who gets there, and next thing you know, they're not getting their stuff as quick as they want it. Then they start getting loud. And one of the things about Filipinos, okay, they don't make a lot of money, they don't get a lot of training, but they have their pride. And if you embarrass them, that's one of the worst things you can do. And when you get some of these expats over here who start screaming at them and everything in public, that's a real big no-no.
Oh, a big no-no. I absolutely agree. One of those saving face things with the Filipino people, and I've encountered it a lot with Thai people, Cambodian, a lot of the Asiatic peoples. It's kind of that caste system to where they don't ever want to seem foolish or to make a mistake, because with that kind of caste society, they're not as egalitarian as Western societies. So if they're seen as constantly making mistakes, that lowers them in the caste society of being eligible to get food, for mate selection. I kind of talk about things like a nerd. I love evolutionary biology.
Mate selection.
Okay. yeah. I nerd out about it. But I definitely 100% agree. And in fact, one of the things I noticed with like the patience deal, I've seen so many people have this issue with not realizing, especially the older guys, you're retired now. You have nowhere to be. If it takes you 2 hours to get your food, well, guess what? You got to sit down for 2 hours and use their Wi-Fi. If you're sitting there driving, and you're driving like a bat out of hell, well, guess what? No, the Filipinos aren't going to drive fast because A, it's super dangerous on those motorbikes, and they don't want to go over 30 miles per hour because they know they'll die. Have you, so I've dealt with a lot of Filipinos, Thais, all of these people that ride motorbikes on a regular basis. Have you ever met one that has not been in a motorbike accident?
No, I've never met a Filipino nor an expat you're going to get, when you come over here, you're going to get in a wreck.
And that's one of those things is if you're guaranteed to be in an accident, and every expat I've met, and you've met every Filipino,
I've done it.
He's been I haven't ever driven a motor scooter, so I'm the one that's safe. I've never been in an accident because I've never driven. But you're guaranteed to be in an accident. That's one of the reasons why they all drive so slow, and why everything is just moving at a slower pace. That also goes back to evolutionary biology. When you have fruit that is able to be harvested year-round, eventually throughout the generations of people, you're not in a rush like Western peoples. Western peoples had to harvest food in a very particular time frame, store it for winter, so we became very obsessed with time, very obsessed with storing, preparation, organization, whereas they don't have to have that here. That's not part of their evolutionary biology. But I digress. But I see a lot of the Westerners, when they're driving like a bat out of hell. They're driving aggressive. You're guilty of this.
Yes, but I did it in the U.S. too.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things. You're not in the U.S. anymore.
Yeah.
But I agree with you on the patience thing. I find many times, even when waiting in line, when people cut in front of me, and which is relatively common here.
Yes. They don't respect lines.
That additional waiting time, the first thing that ticks in my brain is you've just been disrespected. When in reality, what I have to think again to myself is, oh, well, you now wait another 3 or 4 minutes. You have nowhere to be. It doesn't matter. You have all the time in the world. Let it go. What kind of behaviors have you either had or you've seen others have when they're getting that impatience or when they feel like they've been disrespected for their time? Their time has been disrespected.
You mean how do the foreigners act?
Yeah.
Well, I hate to say it, but I was, with a friend yesterday, and we were in line at the ferry for Guimaras. And it's an island right here off the coast of Iloilo. I'm not from here. I'm a guest, and another friend was taking us to this island, and Nate was bringing us there. And When we lined up for the ferry, there were 3 lanes, and for some reason the guy, when we pulled in, told us to pull behind like the big they don't have 18-wheelers here, but the big commercial trucks and everything. And so he had us pull behind them, and each ferry ran every 30 minutes, and you can only put X amount on there. Well, by the 3rd ferry, when we should have gotten on the 3rd ferry, evidently they didn't load it right, the people who were loading it, because they have to balance the weight and everything. So although we should have gotten on that 3rd ferry, they didn't let anyone from the big truck lane go. And so the other 2 lanes were just regular vehicles. And for some reason, like I said, we were in a regular truck, a little Toyota Hilux. And, we were unfortunately in that commercial lane, and we didn't get to move. We were boxed in. All the regular cars went, and they filled it up, and we had to wait another 30 minutes. And that pushed us to the 4th ferry. So we were now there for a minimum of 2 hours. And, our friend didn't take that too well, that we were boxed in and that all these other cars went by. And, it got a little confrontational. And, he actually got out and made sure he was able to get back into the regular car lane and get out of this commercial vehicle lane. And, and over here, it's kind of a free-for-all. And so, of course, it's bumper to bumper. And so for us to get over, he actually, had to, say, hey, we're coming over. And I'll put it politely. It wasn't one of his finer moments. And he felt bad about it later. But the fact that we had been there for 2 hours, it actually got a little bit heated. And, the scary thing about that is when you come over here first, you got the whole saving face thing, which can embarrass some people. But, they can actually call the police and all that. And you are not going to win any case over here if you're a foreigner.
Oh, no.
Anything that happens, you're at their mercy. So
and it's also a safety concern. So I've seen the same thing with like expats when they get frustrated, and usually they're trying to adjust to the culture shock overall, so they're already in like an agitated mood. But when they have that impatience or that inability to accept what they cannot change, they become very loud, very aggressive. And different cultures that you'll see throughout Asia look at it different ways. I have an example from Thailand. So in Thailand, the Filipino people look at you a little. They look at things a little different than the Thai people. But the Thai people, if you raise your voice or you show aggression, they look at that as like you're sad. You're a sad man. You're pathetic. Like you're weak because you cannot control your emotions. Like it's sad for you. They feel pity. And the only times I've ever seen anybody physically assaulted, is when they've been disrespectful to a Thai person. They've gotten loud. They've gotten aggressive. And if you fight a Thai person, you will lose. They all jump in.
They come on and do that Muay Thai crap and kick you in the leg.
And Muay Thai. And the Filipino people, they're no different. They'll get in and they do group fights.
Oh, yeah.
So if they see a Farang or a foreigner get in fight with one of their people, everyone's going to get in on it, and you're going to lose. Because you might be able to fight 2-3 people, but you sure as heck can't fight 5 or 10.
Yeah, remember, even Gulliver got pinned down by the Lilliputians. If there's enough of them, you're in trouble.
So I was at the bottom of my condo, and I was dealing with my condo people trying to pay off my utilities. And there was another man, a French man there, and he was waiting, and then the Thai people waved me over, and so I walk up to the window, very gentle, because over there you have to be gentle. Gentleness throughout Asia, with Japan and Korea, especially in Thailand, it's very Buddhist, so they want you to be peaceful, they want you to be tranquil. I walked up, and all of a sudden this French guy started yelling and cursing that he didn't want to wait, and he shouldn't have to, and he's yelling like he's an arm's way away from me, and he's yelling right in my ear as I'm walking up, but he's yelling at a lady. The ladies that work there.
Yeah, that ain't good.
And so I turned to him, and I've done conflict dispute resolution, but it wasn't my finest moment because I turned to him and I said, "Calm down," which is something you never say to somebody when you want them to calm down. You usually try to distract him or empathize, but I was out of it that day. And he started ramping up. And he said, "Mind your own business." And I said, "Well, it is my business because you yelled in my ear." And I think he had that click of reality of he was about 120 pounds, a 65-year-old man, and here he is yelling at me, a considerably heftier fellow with a little bit of youth to him, and then there's security guard right behind him, a Thai security guard. So, I managed to diffuse the situation after he calmed down, and the security guard walked up, and he kind of realized he was able to control himself in that moment. But if he would have continued to escalate, as I've seen many do, he would have probably gotten hurt physically, assaulted. He could have gone to jail, right? If he would have ran off at the mouth in a way that was degrading to a Thai person, that's defamation. It's a big no-no. You don't want to do that. But we managed, I said to the clerks, I said, my pen rai, never mind him. Sabai, it's all good, never mind. And everything went okay, but I've seen it many times where I've seen a Russian guy get into a fist fight because he didn't want to be patient with a truck waiting on the side of the road. And he got whooped and sent to jail, I'm sure. I didn't see the jail part. I saw him get whooped. But that's one of those things I see a lot of foreigners do, is that aggressive mode. Whereas if you observe Filipino people, how many times would you say that you've ever seen a Filipino person start yelling, get irate, or physically fight somebody?
Other than my girlfriend?
Yeah, other than her.
None.
None.
Absolutely not. But then again, I live in Dumaguete, the city of gentle people. But, they are as happy and peaceful. They will try. They bend over backwards to be accommodating. Now, they don't always have the answer, and they might not tell you the truth, because they don't want to make you angry. But as far as belligerence or anything, no, I've never had anyone get confrontational with me.
No, but as a people, I find Filipino people very non-confrontational. That's the word I would use it for.
Absolutely.
They have these large family structures, and they live in these barangays, so like townships, and they're all friends with each other, and they all hang out at night with each other and karaoke and drink and eat food, right? They're all very community-based and family-based. And I think that kind of helps train them in childhood to be very non-confrontational and go with the flow and be very easygoing. That's not necessarily with the fierce independence we see in the West and how we're detached from community, more so my generation than 50, 60, 70 years ago. But we're very divorced from each other. We're very independent.
Call me. I don't care about you.
Exactly. Yeah, Generation Me. That was my. That's what they call me. That's what they call my dad's generation. But they're not going to find them confrontational. So one of the things I always tell people too is it's about assimilation. If you remember watching TV in the 80s, whenever the politicians would come up, they would talk about immigrants coming to America and how they would assimilate to American greatness. And how eventually they would learn the language and how eventually they would learn to love our culture and they would assimilate in the culture and they would become great Americans, right? And that was always the way the public saw it. Was once they assimilate, they'll be American. Now, no matter where you are or who you are or where you're from, you're American now. Well, it's an Uno reverse. As Americans coming to the Philippines, we have to show some level of assimilation.
And we're trying to change them.
That's exactly one of the things that's a problem is we want to make them rush. We want to make them organized. We want to make them operate in our beliefs.
Yeah.
But if we really wanted that, wouldn't we be in our own country?
Look what happened over there.
Yeah, it didn't turn out to, well.
Oh, that's why we're all here.
Yeah.
We're not happy with the way things are over there. So.
Yeah. And I think that's actually a really great point you made about just kind of having that patience. Is there any kind of tips or tricks you do to remind yourself to be patient?
Yes. And I got to admit today, can I say, I actually was kind of guilty of this. And I've been good I really have. I've changed so much, and been, accepting of all these things. But today, we were in a place called SNR, which is Iloilo's version of Sam's or Costco. And we're in the food court. We're going to eat lunch. And I get behind these two ladies. They get to the counter, and they make their order. It's 462 pesos. That's fine. Well, the two ladies just start opening their purses and emptying pesos on the counter. Not 20 pesos, not 10 peso coins, but ones and fives for 462. And I hate to say this, math isn't really their best, category over here. So as they're counting through all these coins, it literally took about 15 minutes. And I was just about, seriously, I was finally at my wit's end. I had my wallet in my hand. I was about to walk up and just say, the heck with it, I'll pay for it. So I was just about to walk up with my wallet and say, the heck with this, I'll pay for it so we can go. And my girlfriend kept stopping me. And so I didn't do it, and I stepped back. And then so they had all their little pesos there. And after 15 minutes later, this is a 462 peso bill. They were 68 pesos short. The lady on this side reached in and pulled out a 500 peso note for those 68 pesos.
Brutal.
I gotta say, I almost lost it. I did. The only thing that kept me calm, I was, doing my best. Also, there was a guy who said, "Hey, aren't you that guy with the YouTube channel?" So that kept me grounded. I didn't want him in my comments going, "Yeah, this guy's a jerk, man." I was following him in SNR, but
you're not anonymous today.
Yeah, I'm not anonymous. So I was this close to snapping today. I got to admit, I really was. But look, when you come here, and you're gonna find it out, you're gonna be frustrated. People are gonna stop in front of you. Filipinos don't have spatial awareness either. People will walk right in front of you and just stop. Or they'll turn right in front of you, or you just have to be patient. Like Nate said, he put it best. You're retired. And it did. It probably took me 3 or 4 weeks to finally decompress. But then all of a sudden, it's like, now I got the flip flops. I'm, the puka shell necklace. I'm chill. And that's what you have to do. That's the only way you're going to make it here. You're not changing them. There's too many of them. You're not changing them. So, and don't try and change them. They're good people, and everything works out here. I mean, it's a great place to live for a great price. The people are very nice. Don't come over here and try and change it.
It's not a matter of if that happens to you, you're going to be feeling real impatient and rushed and disrespected as far as your time. It's when. Be prepared before you come out here. Have a plan, have a way of thinking prearranged, and realize that that's a normal thing to feel that way, to act that way. But you've got to rein it in for your safety, and so not just for the way you're representing yourself, but the way you're representing everyone who looks like you that comes after you. Now, I want to segue into my next video after this one. So you mentioned your girlfriend kind of stopped you and tried to calm you down?
Yes.
And your girlfriend's Filipino?
Yes, half Filipino, half African.
Okay, you're very lucky to have a life partner here and a girlfriend here. But overall, when you come here, there's nobody to save you. There's nobody to rein in your behavior. So in the next Deplorable Travelers, I'm going to talk to you guys about things that can get out of control for you because there's no social pressure to stop. Thanks so much for joining me today, Kevin.
Absolutely.
Make sure you check out his YouTube channel. It's down below. Make sure you click on it, subscribe, like, all that good stuff to him.
Appreciate it.
And thank you so much for sharing your stories.
Sure.
See you guys in the next video.